Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2669 Upgrading the National Defense System 1. Is it theoretically possible to achieve a comprehensive technological upgrade of a country with nearly 100 million people in half a year? Judging from the current average technological level of Earthlings, of course they are not. Even if we have the technology, we certainly won't be able to keep up with the demand in terms of manpower and resources. However, if humanity obtains a kind of labor power far exceeding human strength, then that's another story. After obtaining 80% of the Sand Raiders' heritage, Zhang Yi completely solved the Sand Raiders' source problem. This also means that he obtained more than 200,000 mechanical life forms from the Songyuan clan and put them all into production. The Sandsweeper robots have replaced them as the main fighting force, so these Songyuan mechanical life forms have resumed their original purpose, construction engineering. Following unpredictable instructions, they work continuously for 24 hours a day with an extremely low error rate. For the next half hour, times seem to be fast-forwarded. Since returning from Mars, Zhang Yi has given himself almost no time to breathe, putting the entire Huashu kingdom on the track of infrastructure maniac. Tenkai is the core of the entire plan. The engineer protocol left behind by the Ihan race has been fully unlocked, and some of the Sand Raider civilization's buildings and quantitative technologies have also been retrieved from the Ling database. In addition, the original Songyuan clan system of combining various technologies directly propelled the Huashu kingdom's civilization forward by tens of thousands of miles compared to other civilizations. More than 200,000 engineering machinery units operate day and night. During the day, they demolish the city. At night, they build new buildings. Cranes, railcars, and automatic assembly machines form a steel waterfall in the sky and sea. In terms of materials, there is naturally no shortage. The large amount of rich iron ore mined from Mars has already been smelted and chained between those 2 points. Through a special material ratio and smelting process, they created a new type of mass-market alloy. Zhang Yi had witnessed firsthand the strength and resilience of buildings constructed from this material. Even when he fought against the Sand Raiders and the Guardians, he couldn't completely destroy them. Using these materials to build a city, the resulting city would be terrifying, needless to say. From concrete to glass facades, and then to new types of steel reinforcement in buildings, each technology may seem simple, but they are all the result of billions of years of development by the sand-breaking civilization. A single cement item is enough for the aliens to study for several months. This is the benefit of copying the business, and it allows one to directly overtake others by taking a shortcut. Large mixers extend through pipes several meters long, pouring concrete that solidifies into roads and also builds 100-meter-high buildings. Overnight, more than a dozen 100-meter-tall buildings sprang up along the coast. The next day, when nearby residents woke up groggily and opened their windows, their first reaction was often not shock, but rather familiarity with the place. How come there's another one? This was an empty lot yesterday. Tenkai is changing every single day now. However, some people wore worried expressions, looking at the mechanical life forms that worked day and night, and mutter to themselves, "I feel like we've all become useless now." The residents of Tianhai are all elites of the Huashu kingdom. Not one of them is useless. Most of them are scientists, researchers, and top craftsmen who have mastered cutting-edge technologies. But gradually, they began to feel the pressure from the mechanical life forms. Because most of their workers have been replaced by mechanical life forms. What if one day, mechanical life forms develop too well, and we are replaced? Someone raised this question. However, everyone was quite confused, unsure whether this was good or bad in the long run. They are certain of one thing, at least in the short term, this thing is absolutely beneficial and harmless. Skysea Fortress also underwent a qualitative upgrade in this half-section. The new facade is no longer just a simple high-density alloy. It is a complete ring of defensive force field devices, the Ihan clan's force field base, superimposed with the Sand Raider civilization's space oscillation compensation structure, plus Lu Ran's own understanding of new technologies. A simpler way to describe it is, the fortress of the former Heavenly Sea is a city of steel, which has almost no problem facing natural disasters, but it is difficult to withstand the charge of the alien army. Before this, Tenkai had been destroyed several times. The current Tianhai city is made of super strong steel as its bones and a tortoise shell as its shield. Uncle Yu personally conducted several stress tests. Wearing the upgraded version of the Terminator God armor, he stood on the outer edge of the Sky Sea Fortress, enduring full-power cannon fire, bombarding the shield with shot after shot, causing sparks to fly from his chest, but the shield only rippled slightly. According to the simulation data, when fully activated, this defensive force field is strong enough to withstand the continuous attacks of a night-level powerhouse. Looking at the data, Yang Xinshin reported to Zhang Yi, even a queen-level attack can withstand it for a short period of time. Uncle Yu touched the spot on his breastplate that was still hot from the impact and chuckled. To put it simply, it's unbreakable, truly unbreakable. Tianhai City is truly secure now. It's a super fortress. Zhang Yi stood on the shore, looking ahead at the massive defensive barrier that stretched from the horizon, seemingly endless, completely enveloping Tianhai City like an inverted dome. Not only the surface, but also the underground space was heavily fortified. He really liked this feeling of absolute defense. After that, even if I don't personally oversee this place, Tianhai City will no longer be allowed to be ravaged. Zhang Yi breathed a long sigh of relief, completely satisfied. However, simply getting beaten up is not enough. Once the defense is solid, the offensive strategies must also keep pace. Research on antimatter weapons was put on the agenda during this period. Among the materials left behind by the Sandstalker civilization, there is a large amount of basic theory about the storage and guidance of antimatter. Zhang Yi simply took charge of the laboratory himself, writing down his limited antimatter usage experience between the netherworld and the surface universe into a formula and working around the clock with Lu Ran and the artificial superbrain in the room. No one understands this better than him because he has already used some of the power of antimatter and even has the ability to actually obtain this power from the netherworld. With a more intuitive demonstration of power, Lu Ran's research and development of new weapons has accelerated dramatically. The Antimatter Planet Destroyer, the most basic and introductory version, has finally been created by them. Its core is a miniature antimatter warhead, which is spatially sealed and fixed in an absolutely safe chamber. Upon launch, it is instantly unsealed, comes into contact with an equal amount of matter, and releases an incredibly terrifying amount of annihilation. After reading the theoretical values, Lu Ran couldn't help but gasp and exclaimed, "What grim reaper of love!" It uses simple physics principles to create destructive power through nuclear fusion reactions. Compared to antimatter weapons, it's nothing more than swords and spears. Chapter 2670 Upgrading the National Defense System 2. The test firing of the Antimatter Star Destroyer was conducted at a sea range far from land. To prevent the leakage of core secrets, the entire area has been sealed off. Given Zhang Yi's abilities, achieving this is not difficult. A metal island, welded together from a derelict warship, was towed several kilometers offshore as a target. The sky was overcast, and the wind and waves were not strong. The Dreamer floated quietly on the sea, its newly installed Antimatter Star Destroyer pointing silently into the distance. Countdown 7 seconds. Energy is stable, and the core packaging is intact. Launch license confirmed. Zhang Yi stood in the flagship command center, arms crossed, glancing only slightly at the horizon outside the side window. Emission. An inconspicuous dark spot shot out from the bow of the ship, transforming into a huge black four-pointed star that almost swallowed all the light in the entire space. Within a radius of several nautical miles, the light dimmed instantly, as if it had entered the dead of night. The next second, the world in the distance fell silent for a moment. Then an incredibly eerie dark light rose from the metal island. All the observation instruments turned red. Within a kilometer radius of the explosion center, the material structure was almost completely wiped out, metal evaporated, and seawater was instantly vaporized into a huge cavity. It does not destroy the material structure, nor does it blast an island into countless fragments. And to completely erase its existence, the annihilation that occurs when antimatter and matter come into contact, even the parts of matter, are wiped out. The bridge was so quiet that only breathing could be heard. Su Peng swallowed hard, scratched his head, and whispered, "If this thing could hit a target head-on, it could probably kill a night-level target, right?" Yang Xinshin added, "Premise: the opponent is standing still, allowing us to aim carefully. The Star Destroyer cannon has an extremely fast firing rate, but if an alien can reach the night level, they will most likely possess various powerful means of survival. Unless the target is someone like Ho-Tu, who possesses rule-based abilities, their own ability to escape is not strong. Otherwise, it would probably not be so easy to kill a night-level target head-on using only the Star Destroyer cannon." Zhang Yi smiled and put his hands in his pockets. "This is just the beginning. Our weapons will become stronger and stronger in the future. Moreover, with the addition of it is considered that the has a powerful deterrent. This level of weaponry was ultimately mounted on the core gun turrets of 3 super battleships and the Sky Sea Fortress. The remaining defense towers are equipped with only standard-grade antimatter warheads to deal with potential invasions from ancient civilizations." Seeing the formidable power of the antimatter planet-destroying cannon already developed in its initial stages, Zhang Yi couldn't help but ask Ling beside him, "What do you think of this level of technology?" "Not very good." Ling's answer was extremely cold. To copy something exactly is as rudimentary as to mold a toy out of clay based on a car. At its peak, the Ihen race possessed the power to destroy a star-level unit. Zhang Yi touched his nose and thought to himself, we can't compare. Who told you to be the pinnacle race in the universe? By the way, I have another question. You once told me that at their peak, the Ihen clan could mobilize all the resources of the entire universe. Then how did you manage to traverse billions or even trillions of light kilometers to reach the edge of the universe? The planet is the core of the universe. Leaving the planet means exploring the outer reaches of the universe. Does this mean you have mastered the technology to exceed the speed of light? Ling glanced at Zhang Yi and said calmly, "Once you reach the Omega level, you'll know how to exceed the speed of light." Zhang Yi's heart skipped a beat. Exceeding the speed of light, according to the theory of general relativity, would allow him to travel through time and space back to the past. Is this the only road? But he pinched his chin, puzzled, and asked, "Isn't this a paradox? Look, I want to exceed the speed of light so that I can travel through space and reach more distant parts of the universe. But if I exceed the speed of light, I will travel through time. So, will I travel through time back to the past, or will I travel through space?" Ling glanced at Zhang Yi indifferently. "You're quite resourceful." However, after a moment's hesitation, she said slowly, "The only thing that can transcend time and space is human longing." Zhang Yi couldn't help but laugh and said, "You're becoming more and more of a literary youth. Have you been watching too much Tiny Times lately?" Ling rolled her eyes. "There are some things I'll tell you now, but you won't understand. You'll understand when the time comes." After saying that, she closed her eyes and returned directly to Zhang Yi's alternate dimension. Zhang Yi shrugged helplessly. However, for him, space travel is still a long way off. After assimilating the technology of the engineers and Sand Raiders civilization, it would take at least a few months. To give a very simple example, even if they possessed all the technology, they still couldn't replicate a single tiny screw from the Ihen race. The road to technological development is long and arduous. Meanwhile, during this half-hour period, Zhang Yi and those around him experienced a significant leap in their overall strategy. Zhang Yi's ability index did not increase within half a month, remaining at 56,000 points. As expected, the increase became slower and slower as time went on. However, his slow progress was a deliberate slowdown. His trip to Mars made him realize that simply increasing his energy index was not very meaningful. He needed to accumulate experience, better understand his own abilities, and maximize his potential. Ling had told him that his combat speed was already monstrous among all races. In just 8 hours, he traversed a path that other races, even those with the resources of their entire race, could only cover in a few thousand or even thousands of years. This is, in a way, the last bit of favor that creation bestowed upon the 6 generations. On the other hand, it was because of the baptism of 14.8 billion spiritual essences from the Aihen clan that his physical shackles were broken. What are fetters? This refers to the upper limit of a person's talent. The same resources can produce vastly different results in different people. For example, people like Li Chongqing and Deng Shentong, their upper limit is probably the level of the sect. After reaching this level, giving them more resources is not very meaningful. Unless there is a special fortuitous encounter later, or Zhang Yi forcibly piles up resources, they have no way to break through this constraint. However, the speed at which Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin could improve their abilities was extremely rare. This is the true value of the Aihen clan's final gift, the baptism of the spiritual ocean. Uncle Yu, Liang Yu, Fatty Su, Deng Shentong, Li Chongqing, Wu Di, these old buddies who have accompanied Zhang Yi from the apocalypse to the present day have all been pulled in for a complete upgrade during this period. Here ends today's chapter. I hope you liked it. Kindly do also subscribe to my gaming channel. I have to Fina
That's
a way to
today's
survive.
chapter.
Thanks.
Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises. Thank you.